Mr. Kantenberger, you introduced a very strong word, but I think it's very true concept. GT kids, they cannot fend for themselves. They are actually vulnerable, not because of they're smart. They cannot deal with everything. What is the special characteristic? As a parents, we need to give them special care. As an educator, we need to give them a special education.
Right. Well, it is difficult.
Yes.
For instance, if you look at a person that has very bad handwriting,
yes,
that could be a sign of a very, very smart person, or one that is just doesn't even know how to do how to begin to write.
Yes, yes.
Because they are both characteristics. The same thing as deportment. A student may be very sully and not cooperative and won't work and causes all kinds of problems in school. That person could be gifted, or that person could be really someone that is so far behind that he couldn't possibly catch up, and so he's going to be disruptive in order to get through the day. Actually, now, if you don't know these differences, one or the other is not going to tell you anything. But when you see these things, that should be a sign to start looking for these other things that this person is, the characteristics about them. And if you're trained in GT, you start looking for these things.
I mentioned in my last program, by higher level definition, only a psychologist with a PhD and specialized in GT education have the credential to interview with the kids to find out the real GT kids. But of course, in the public school system, it's financially impossible. Okay.
And as a matter of fact, in Renard, we have a psychologist. In fact, it's under contract. That does all of the testing, and she has been doing this for a long, long time, and she knows the ins and outs of what to do, how to ask the questions, how to make the kids, relax and try to get the best out of them.
They have to be gifted themselves.
Oh yeah, Well, not necessarily, but in most cases that's probably true. But it's not necessary. It's not really necessary. Just like in Texas, they talk about the 30 clock hours, and you can go teach GT classes. But there are states like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. All these states require teachers to have a master's degree and so many hours, semester hours in GT before they can teach the kids in their state.
John,
Texas does not.
You can go to Harvard and get a PhD if you have an IQ of 125. It's possible, right? But then you can teach GT kids, and they may have 175 IQ. And I know in Reynolds School, you have very high potential kids. I physically see some of them. You just look them in the eyes and chat with them 5 minutes. And you can see the difference.
But we also have them from 130 up to 135. We have quite a few of those also. And that's why they all have to be taught differently. Because the guy that's 175 and the one that's 135 have to be taught differently because they have different capabilities.
Unfortunately, we only have 20 minutes. I hope we have 20 minutes, but we don't. Probably later on, I need to invite you back to talk about the GT again, so I can talk with you slowly, one thing at a time. Testing would be a 1 hour discussion, and emotional need of the kids would be 1 hour discussion, right? And social interaction, leadership training would be 1 hour discussion. And before the end of the program, let's talk about the emotional need of the kids.
Okay.
John, go ahead. Emotion, I talk?
The reason that the emotion is a problem is because when these kids go into school, they have high expectations of having fun and it's going to be great. By the time that they get to the 3rd or 4th grade and they begin to realize that it's not much fun, they think something's wrong with them. And they think, well, something's bound to be wrong with me. And they start withdrawing. They start acting ugly at school. They start maybe become a bully. It could be any sign of rebellion.
Okay.
Any sign of rebellion because they think something is wrong with them and they try to mask it.
Yes, yes. Actually, the signs of high IQ kids they can be a bully, and they can be the ones who are victimized. They can be bullied, right?
Oh, they can. It goes both ways.
Yes,
Exactly.
they can go both ways. So that's why we talk about the vulnerabilities. So that's why they need a special attention from their parents, protection from their parents, and protection from their school. And that's the full-time job, John, right?
Yeah.
So
when you see your kids go extremely well or extremely bad, and that's a sign he or she might be the one.
Exactly.
这个 GT 教育的这个题目呢是非常有深度的一个话题，但是呢，在这么短短的时间呢，很可惜呢，我们不能把所有的问题都能够解决。但是今天很荣幸的呢，请到了那个 Mr. Kantenberger 在这里边呢，跟我们大家会面，尤其是那个 John 也 ask 了很多很重要的这个 question。这样来说呢，非常感谢两位嘉宾的到访。Thank you so much for your contribution to my program.
Thank you for inviting me.
Hopefully you can come here again.
Well, I hope so too, because we've just barely scratched the surface.
That's right. That's right. We need more program to deal with that. 好，谢谢大家观众的关注。那么我们下个星期再见。谢谢大家关注我们的节目。